Isidore died with a simplicity that marked his life, having spent his final years as he had lived them, faithful to the sacraments, generous to the poor, attentive to prayer. His legacy endures as the patron of farmers and rural workers, and is a quiet reminder to Catholics today. Holiness is not reserved for monasteries or universities. It can be grown in the furrows of daily duty, watered by prayer and harvested in mercy. What a wonderful story, isn't that, to hear that? Here's Isidore, a simple man, a simple laborer, got married, had children, lived a normal life, and yet an extraordinary life because he lived it extraordinarily normal. If you think about it, he went to Mass, he gave alms, he worked all day. He did the day-to-day, but he did it with such a love for God that he became a wonderful saint. That's such an example of what we can do. We are called to live that. You know, just like we were hearing right here at the very end of this story, that sanctity is not reserved for monasteries or universities. And honestly, it's just the opposite. I was in a monastery, and let me tell you what, they call the people that you live with in monasteries saint makers. And they truly are saint makers. And you may get one saint out of that entire monastery, and the rest of them, they torture you to sanctity. So you don't need to be in a monastery, you don't need to be a pope, you don't need to be a priest, you don't need to be a nun, you don't need to be anything other than what God desires for your life. And that may just be a simple person holding a door. You may be a doorman or a doorwoman. You may be a sweeper, sweeping on the floor. You may be a janitor. And yet you may be the holiest person in your entire area. You may be a living saint because you lived your life well for God. And you think about Isidore, he lived his life well for God, which is beautiful. I used to argue with my mom that she would say, oh, you need to be holy. I'm like, phew. Yeah, right. You know what? Saints are born, they're not made. They're not made. That was my excuse because I didn't want to do anything that would be hard on me, that would test my will. I didn't want to sacrifice for anything. I just wanted everything to come on a silver platter, you know, and I wanted to do the easy thing. I wanted to do the less. I wanted to do, a little bit instead of doing more. Look at Isidore. Here he was working hard. He worked hard, he lived hard, and he was generous to a fault. So it's beautiful. So let us all learn from St. Isidore the farmer. Let's all learn that we are called to be holy in every station of life.